Welcome to episode 73 of the Champagne Comedy Podcast, where we talk about the best Australian comedy show from the 90s ever made, Frontline, and other degeneration comedy tidbits. My name is Matt, and joining us on this podcast today is Alison, Daniel, Kim, and our US correspondent, Stephen. Hello. Welcome, one and all.
So, Stephen, considering you're in the good old US stateside, are you okay?
We're going to ask everyone that, don't we?
Yeah, have you got an escape bag ready to go?
What I'll say right now is that I've never been prouder to be an Australian. And never been prouder to always be an Australian.
Good.
Yep.
There we go.
All right.
Here.
Okay, I'm going to have to admit something. Last episode. Oh, actually, you know what? This deserves to be in. I've got a clause which I need to point out here that anything that's a get this reference in most recent episodes, I have to make sure I plug something, and I failed to plug it last episode. Thank you, Daniel, because it was Daniel's references as well to it, and I just let it slide. So as part of my contractual obligations, which are lasting 99 plus years, there's another reason why Stephen's on here, and I'm sorry, Stephen, boss, please.
Look, I will forgive you this time. It's a bit like the Crips and the Bloods. There's the kind of the Frontline late show side of LA, and then the Get This side of LA, and you guys encroach on my side of LA. There's going to be some blood spilled here. So no, it's all good. Happy to hear Get This referenced on the show, of course. And Matt, of course, is not just speaking on the show, but he's twiddling knobs, he's sliding faders, he's editing until all hours of the evening. So this one time, Matt, you're forgiven, but I will put you on Peter Dutton's watch list. So just be mindful of that.
All right, thanks, mate. Thanks. Feel free to plug what I was doing. Or, what you're doing.
Oh, yeah.
That's the whole idea as well. That's what it says in the contract. So you might as well just... people have been commenting, which I only noticed not long ago when we released the teaser of a certain podcast. So
yes.
And then it's like, well, we might as well give an update.
Okay, well, it's still coming soon, as per the sizzle that you released on January 1st. But People Want Ducks, the unauthorized history of Get This, is still scheduled for release later on in 2025. We're going to give all of you the courtesy of having this series of Frontline review go to air first, and so you'll hopefully see People Want Ducks, shortly after this season of Frontline is done. You can go to peoplewantducks.com to sign up for our newsletter, which I'll hopefully start to fire up soon with some more content. That I am currently deep in pre-production, going through all the various, cassettes of old material, getting co-hosts lined up and guests lined up. So it's going to be a very high production series. And very much looking forward to bringing it to not only all of you here right now on the recording panel, but everyone is also listening to the show.
So there's an update for everyone who's been waiting since that teaser.
Oh, I'm really excited. There's someone I work with who had heard about it as well, and he knows about this podcast, and he's like, when's this Get This podcast coming out? So I can now tell him it will be this year and it'll be worth the wait.
Absolutely right.
Well, I'm looking forward to listening to it also. So, good luck with producing the show.
Thank you so much.
So there's
good luck for Matt, who's going to have to go through so many hours of my ums and ers and 10,000 sound effects. And it'll be like, Stephen, you can't have 10,000 sound effects on one show, man. Make it like 10, not 10,000.
I've got a thing now, so can't. Anyway, but we've got a fair bit on to report in the news with Sampang Tonight recently, which Tom Gleisner appeared on the show, but also I noticed too that Mick Malloy made a little cameo as well with video thing, but I won't play that because it was more or less a joke about how many episodes Sampang Tonight that he's done. It's like, well done. And then he was in his 8th episode, which is on par with the Mick Malloy show. Oh, wait, no, it was
No,
9
the
episodes.
Nation, wasn't it? Or
Yeah.
the Mick Malloy show
Nation was
did
10.
8. The Mick Malloy show did 8, yeah.
Mick Malloy show did 8, and then the Nation did 10 or 12 or whatever. Anyway, but now I'm going to play this. It's a little bit long. I've chopped it down from 10 minutes down to 3. But this is basically that Sam pretty much asked Tom Gleisner the questions that we would ask if we had Tom Gleisner on the podcast, because just have a listen. These are what we would ask.
Yeah, lots to talk about. I'll start with the obvious. Is the panel coming back?
Yes, it's in hiatus, I think is the term we use in the TV world.
How often do you get asked that question?
Yeah, fairly often, but it's for people who had nothing to do in the 90s and they still don't have anything to do, so hanging up for it.
Next Monday in this very time slot, have you been paying attention returns for season 13? How did it all start? Do you remember the origins?
Yeah, it was back in the year of the London Olympics, and we were doing filling in on a radio station, and we did an Olympic quiz. I came in each day and asked questions, and you didn't answer them. It was basically that's the magic formula.
And then we did a podcast that for free. I want to talk about your acting, because you're a writer and you're a producer. What do you put on your passport?
Well, it says on my Wikipedia entry, it says Tom Gleisner is writer, presenter, and occasional actor. What's an occasional actor?
Well, you're acting. You're a terrible actor.
Yeah, that's
right?
probably.
Yeah, but I wanted to have a look at some of your acting. One is, here you are as the photocopy repair guy on Frontline.
Oh, yeah. It's fixed. Some context. That was the final episode of the first series. It's the only line I had. But the joke was I was always the guy in the background fixing the office photocopying machine. So they gave me one line. It's fixed.
All right, it's not even my favourite role, by the way. My favourite role is you played Poncho in Funky Squad. All right. Now, Poncho didn't seem to have a lot of lines. Exhibit A.
Clicks his fingers and Silvertop comes running like Rin Tin Tin on a leash.
And the kids on the streets downtown are left with zip.
Well, Chief, we didn't know justice was for sale.
All right,
That was in character.
What was the character's name?
Poncho was the gentleman I played, and we gave him a backstory to cope with my inadequate acting prowess, that he once took a bullet to the tongue.
So we've done a deep dive this week. So this is here you're doing some good acting. This is a good performance from you in a sketch from The Late Show. And I say it because it reminds me of a character that went on to become, a character we still love today. But this is you playing a character, Tom Gleisner, called Wallaby Jack.
Travelling through the great outback, Wallaby Jack, going off the beaten track, Wallaby Jack hasn't got a single pair of realistic facial hair, but come on,
You're right not to applaud.
No. Now, listen, that's over 30 years ago.
Yes.
Wallaby Jack, can I be so presumptuous to assume that went on to become Russell Coit?
Absolutely. Because I've always loved those outback adventurers. Think like Bear Grylls. Before Bear, there was Albie Mangles and Micah Mal Leyland, Troy Dan, guys with khaki shorts and a death wish. And they would basically wander around the outback. I loved that world, and I really wanted to capture it. So that was a very early attempt on The Late Show, but it became obvious I didn't have the acting chops. So phone call to Glenn Robbins, who was, at that point, I think, doing The Comedy Company. And that, when he finished up there, we went and made Russell Coit.
Wow, as a big fan of Russell Coit in the series, how great is it that you can't act? Because that's the win there.
Absolutely.
Can I just point out the Comedy Company ended in, 1992, I think?
Pedantry.
Yeah.
Yeah, like 91, I think.
Bit of pedantry there.
He was in Fast Forward and also in Comedy Company. Fast Forward, maybe he was probably referring to, because Fast Forward and The Late Show kind of overlapped.
Yeah, old man Gleisner needs to get his memory checked.
Yeah, but there's still a sort of 10-year gap between the end of Comedy Company and Russell Coit. So, and in that decade, Glenn Robbins did all sorts of things, including being in Kath and Kim and also on the panel. He was a regular on the panel. So, yeah, anyway, yes, old man Gleisner does need to get his memory checked.
Yes. And speaking of old men, mainly because he is the oldest one in the group, and that is Santo Chilaro appearing on the cheap seats the next day to talk about the Pope.
I love the names of the early popes. There was a Pope Hyginus.
Really? Pope Hyginus?
The first man to change water into hand sanitizer.
Oh, really?
That's good. He actually was canonised. He was a saint. And he also instituted godparents at baptisms, which technically means he's the godfather of godfathers.
Oh, wow.
Actually is. But he did, so he was a famous one.
Pope Hyginus. Have you got any other favourites?
The other name is Hilarious.
Okay, what is it?
Well, that's it. It's hilarious. It's Pope Hilarious.
Pope Hilarious.
He was around in the 400s. There he is. That's him with his joke book.
Yeah.
And he's the only pope to use a whoopee cushion on the papal throne.
Really?
Yeah. He was.
And he did forget about Pope Golfomatic, but, that's another story.
Pope Leo is a good name, but Pope, he maybe should have gone with Hilarious.
What you don't have probably not seen so far, being not living in my country, is that Pope Leo XIV is actually from Chicago.
Yeah.
And oh my goodness, you see so many Chicagoites now coming out about this Pope's probably eaten more hot dogs than every other Pope combined. This Pope is probably the only Pope that's touched the bean, which is an artistic
the Chicago bean. Yeah.
Chicago bean.
Well, didn't one of the American Tonight Show suggest that he'd be the only Pope who ever had truck nuts in his car? So there's all the American kind of jokes are coming out, which is good fun. I hope there will be some truck nuts on the Pope-mobile. Looking forward to that.
Absolutely.
Well, there's a radio station that I listen to on a religious basis. No pun intended.
A religious
there.
basis.
But, I just realised. No,
Vatican Radio.
It's a rock station that I stream, and it's based in Chicago. And think Triple M, but with less bullshit. And they've been talking about the American Pope, and they did say that, he's great and everything, but as soon as they mentioned that he was a Chicago White Sox fan, they don't care. So it's more or less that you've got to be Cubs or nothing at all. But anyway, I just wanted to point that out.
Baseball.
Yes, baseball. Yes.
As opposed to footy.
And it was really good to see Santo on the cheap seats, even wearing that silly cravat.
Well, he's a people expert, man. They've all got to wear cravats, apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, like, it was really bringing home that really, like, there's a lot of the spirit of Graham and the Colonel still in Santo, and definitely in the cheap seats, even down to the ridiculous props.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think there was even a Body of Christ reference in there somewhere.
There was. It was a deep dish Body of Christ, wasn't it?
Yes, because of the
Chicago pizza. Yeah.
And it was interesting to note that with Santo's hair, he doesn't require the white-haired wig anymore.
No. But you can see the full segments and the full episodes on 10 Play. So that is all.
And Santo's been quite busy this week. It's been a bit of extraordinary timing that there's been a papal conclave and the Eurovision Song Contest is coming up. So, of course, Working Dog had to re-upload a failed Eurovision attempt from the fictional country of Moldavia to their YouTube channel.
Nuns wept, holy men cursed, as they looked up onto the balcony and saw Beelzebub, the first. I am the anti-pope. I am the anti-pope. Like a lion kills an antelope, like a hammer hits a cantaloupe. I am the anti-pope.
And now we're all going to hell for listening to that.
Yeah, you know what the funny thing is too, right? In regards to...
the shithouse rhyming?
No, not just that. It is, what have we got here? It's the comments that go up and, like you take them to a grain of salt, right, in regards to the comments. But on YouTube, there was someone here, when they posted it up, it says, "What a load of shit." I'm thinking... Okay, they obviously did not get it.
That's the thing
They
about
didn't get the
YouTube
memo.
comments on about 90%. 90% of YouTube comments on comedy clips always seem to be, "This isn't funny."
Yeah.
What's
and
the
then
point?
someone else
What's
has
the
written,
point of that?
It's sweet, mate. So yeah. Anyway,
Was it 4.5 minutes long?
I think it kept to the traditional under 3 minutes.
I'm just saying, if they said it was shit, was it 4.5 minutes of shit?
I got it.
Yeah, no, we got it. We got
Thank you,
it.
Alison.
Yeah.
Thank you, Alison.
I got it. I just
got it.
didn't acknowledge it. Sorry.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I am
Thanks.
now. Yeah. Good reference.
Stephen, you study your own podcast soon, so shut up.
Shots across the bow.
Okay, so the only other bit of news I've got, well, it kind of isn't news. It's another neither here nor there. And it was prompted by Matt posting on Blue Sky his election night viewing choice.
Oh, okay,
Yes, a DVD of Don's Party.
Oh, yeah?
I think we might have a scene from it here.
Hey, Ron, mind if I screw your missus? Bugger off. You're not a socialist. Oh, you can talk, you liberal voting poofter.
Hey, Ron's no poofter. I've got photos of him screwing my missus.
Yeah? Is that right? I thought he was screwing your missus, Jack. You weak bastard. You wouldn't say that if Gough Whitlam were Prime Minister.
Oh, you don't think so?
No,
you don't think so?
Yeah.
Hey, steady on, fellas, steady on.
Sorry, Ron, they only had light beers left.
Hey,
Bloody liberals.
Sorry. That wasn't Don's Party. That was Ron's Barney, directed by the great Warren Perso.
Love it. Thank you, Daniel.
And
Thank you.
I've got to say, now that I have actually watched Don's Party, it's not far off the original, to be honest, that parody.
Yeah, what it lacks in the sort of literariness of David Williamson, it sort of condenses down into the essence of the real show, I think. Ron's Blarney. Yes.
Although I wasn't expecting all of the 1970s nudity in Don's Party.
Yeah.
It was a land before shavers.
Yeah, I think I only watched it for the first time a couple of years ago, and I was like, yeah, that was the...
Well, I think by law in the 1970s, if a film had Graham Blundell in the cast, there had to be nudity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alvin Purple, Alvin Struck, etc.
Also, and there must have been something in Graham Kennedy's contract to say that, he wasn't going to expose himself.
Quite right, too. He did do that sort of weird duck shooting sequence, which I just find baffling. But
especially with the
there.
cracking sound effect in there to sort of help it along.
Well, if you want to watch Don's Party, or not Ron's Barney, but that's on Broly.
Yeah, because it's part of the catalogue of Umbrella Entertainment. It was actually Umbrella Entertainment run the streaming, the free with ads streaming service Broly, and they also program a channel on Foxtel called Aussie Classics. So it did actually go to air on the Aussie Classics channel on election night, which I thought was a good touch.
Yeah, and Matt, didn't you sync it up with the actual announcement of when Albanese was the winner? There was a particular point in the movie.
That was a joke.
That was a joke. I thought it was a serious attempt.
No. That was a joke. It was in regards to Peter Dutton, and Graham Kennedy taking a dump. Yeah.
That's a bit more extreme than the dunk tank they had on Channel 7 or whatever it was.
Channel 9.
Yeah.
Channel 9. Yeah.
All right, let's get into it. So it is time for...
It's all in this week's TV Week, packed with great family entertainment.
Jesus! Daniel G, program guide, bring it.
Okay, so there's still more letters happening in the guides. I read out one last episode that had to do with Brooke's abortion storyline, but there's another one that's in the latest Age Green guide. And it's written by the guy who pretty much kicked off all of this Is Frontline Funny talk, Anthony Bray of Blackburn. And basically he's referring to another earlier letter. He writes, a word of thanks should go out to Colleen Keane for her advice. 5 minutes spent listening to the Twipper J breakfast show and the same time spent with Good News Week has made me realise Frontline isn't so bad after all. How I long for the innovative work and direct input of people like Steve Vizard, Magda Jabansky, Rod Quantock, etc. to grace our screens again. So Triple J Breakfast, or Twipper J as he derisively calls it, the breakfast show was hosted by Mikey Robbins and Paul McDermott at this time. So I think Anthony is basically doing what would be called today's shit posting. What do you reckon?
Yeah, we'll go with that.
Yeah?
Agreed.
Now, also in the Sydney Morning Herald Guide, they're giving 15 readers a chance to win memorabilia from Frontline. Each winner will receive a copy of the Frontline video, One Big Family featuring 4 episodes from Series 2, and a Herald poster signed by television's most scrupulous current affairs host, Frontline's Mike Moore. And all you had to do was call a 0055 number at a cost of 50 cents. All right, getting to the program guide proper, ABC has the usual, Frontline, Four Corners, Media Watch, Atletico Partick, all good except for Atletico Partick, which is still shithouse. Moving on to Channel 7, at 7:30 we've got Roger Klimpson hosting Australia's Most Wanted. Then there's a bit of a split between Sydney and Melbourne. Now, Sydney had a movie called Volcano Fire on the Mountain. The listing in the guide goes like this. A volcano erupts and threatens the residents of a small community. A young woman who heads the ski patrol has an idea that could save the town. Basically, according to Wikipedia, this is essentially the Aldi version of Dante's Peak. And in fact, if you want to watch it, it is available on a free streaming service called Tubi. It's like Broly, but more shithouse.
Yeah, a point of order, Mr. Speaker.
Yeah.
You mentioned Dante's Peak. Could it also be in Volcano with Tommy Lee Jones?
That's even worse.
Oh, come on. I like that film.
Yeah, it's good. I'm just saying it. That is basically the houseboat horror of volcano films.
I haven't seen either of those, but I did watch Volcano Fire on the Mountain just to grab a little clip. Basically, this scene I've got here features a jam donut. Now, what do we really know about jam donuts? I mean, really?
They're round and
doughy?
full of jam.
And full of
round,
jam.
doughy and full of jam.
Yep,
Yeah.
that's it. And they're also a teaching aid. So we've got a bit of a teaching moment here, trying to teach what's happening with the volcano to the mayor.
You see this donut, Mayor? Actually, this little hole right here, that's right about where the west slope of this mountain sits. Now, as magma forces its way to the surface, there's a lot of pressure building up underneath this area. And it's going to continue to build and build until it finally finds a way out. And then...
God, you want me to listen to this maniac?
That sounded like barge ass there going off, saying someone just destroyed a donut.
Well, yeah, basically that was a jam money shot in the mayor's face. I was going to use a Japanese word, but I don't think that's applicable in this instance.
He's off to an unrelated shot at the Cabana Motel now.
But yeah, I think it's only natural that a jam donut is used to teach about volcanic pressure, because I think I saw Dean do the same thing to Rob on an episode of The Curiosity Show.
Well, I'm glad you asked. And then someone had already used a Twinkie in a ghost film from 1984.
Exactly. So that's what's happening in Sydney. And in Melbourne, well, I hope you like AFL.
From Channel 7's Footy Unlimited, Pilco Prentice.
G'day, Kerry. How are you, mate?
From Nine's Let's Talk Footy, Wacker McStanger.
Thanks, Kerry. Good to be here, mate.
And from 10's Footy, one of the great colourful characters of the game. You just never know what he's going to say next. Smacker Spargo.
G'day, Kerry. How you going?
Yeah. And also with us on the panel for no real reason, Max Sharam.
Chocolate, bananas, teapots, elephants.
Yeah.
Nice.
Did you count how many footies were in that Channel 10 title, by the way?
No.
15.
15.
Yeah.
It was 15.
Yeah, it was 15, yeah.
Yes!
Pedantry.
No, that's not pedantry.
So on Channel 7 in Melbourne, there was Talking Footy at 8:30 with Bruce McAvaney, Lee Matthews and Mike Sheehan. And then at 9:30, delayed coverage of North Melbourne versus Carlton. North Melbourne won 86 to Carlton's 60. And I haven't mentioned too much about the AFL this year. There were a couple of debuts. It was the first year of Port Adelaide playing in the AFL. So, yeah, this is round 2. They were beaten by 79 points by Collingwood at the MCG the previous round. And it's also the first year of Triple M commentating the AFL. Who would have thunk a rock and roll station calling the football?
There's no money in that.
No, well, just trying to think about how many millions they've paid since then to keep calling the footy. But anyway, yeah, you basically would have been waiting a long time. You would have been waiting until 12:30 to get your weekly fix of Duckman starring Jason Alexander.
Oh, love it. Love it.
All right, SBS, we've got the Ericsson Cup highlights at 7:30. At 8:30, part 1 of a 2-part Dutch documentary series called The Great Post Road. Jalan Raya Pos tells the story of writer Pramudia Ananta Tour and the Great Post Road, and in doing so, reveals the history of Indonesia.
Stephen.
Yes, sir.
Do you want to? Did you just hear what Daniel said? And there's a perfect get this reference right there, which I can't say.
I will let you say it. It's fine.
It's stumping me now.
People want Dutch.
Oh,
God.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, and don't forget the People Want Docs podcast is
coming soon. That's right.
Well, I think that it's a big night for Dutch, because after that at 9:30, there's a 1993 Dutch drama called Going Home, Politics and War Destroy a Friendship in Colonial Indonesia. So again, it's also, it's a big night for Dutch-Indo relations.
Yeah, I was going to say, is this like a theme night of like Dutch-Indonesian content, or...?
It's just a regular Monday night on SBS, I think. All right, on Channel 9, we've got Friends at 7:30. It's Season 2, Episode 17, originally aired in February 96, called The One Where Eddie Moves In. This is after last episode where we had the one where Joey moves out. And even though they're no longer in the same apartment together, Joey and Chandler still enjoy traditions over the phone.
Was that the oven timer?
That's right, my friend.
It's time for...
Baywatch!
Hey, they're running.
See, this is the brilliance of the show. I say always keep them running. All the time running. Run. Run. Run, Yasmin, run like the wind.
Gee, I think they couldn't get enough of... I'm pretty sure there's a free 24/7 Baywatch channel out there on the internet.
There is. It's on Pluto TV.
So, yeah.
There are too many streaming platforms. Please eliminate 3. I am not a crackpot.
Yeah.
Thanks, Grandpa.
I agree with
about
this.
10 of them in this podcast just tonight. Tubi, Broly.
Yeah. They're all real, by the way. I'm not making them up.
Yeah. I do look forward to consolidation, though, because it really is quite hard to find some things.
Yeah.
Yeah. But don't forget Craptel, which is King Ralph and Short Circuit 2 on loop.
Another Martin Malloy reference down.
Thank you.
At 8 o'clock, we've got Caroline in the City. This is Season 1, Episode 14, originally aired in February 96 as well, called Caroline and the Watch. Caroline buys an antique desk on the way to the deli and later finds a watch gift wrapped inside. She tracks down the old owners. Then at 8:30, we've got Water Rats, Season 2, Episode 9, titled Sex Games. The detectives investigate the death of a woman whose body was found floating in the harbour. Was she murdered, or did she commit suicide? I've got no idea. I didn't watch it. Then another split in Melbourne at 9:30. There's IMT, and in Sydney it's the Super League game, Canberra versus Auckland. Auckland won that 31 points to 24. All right, going over to Channel 10, we've got Healthy, Wealthy, and Wise.
I'm disappointed no one joined in because I didn't have it loaded up. Again.
I was just enjoying your interpretation of it.
Yeah, whatever.
So, according to the listing in both the Sydney and Melbourne guides, Australian Lifestyle Series. At 8:30, we've got Peak Practice. Yeah, I
was
know.
expecting something with Tonya Todman.
I know.
What was Ian cooking that week, man?
Yeah.
I know. I was really disappointed that they didn't say what was in there. I don't know if they would just ran out of space or maybe Channel 10 didn't get it to the guide in time. Just as a bit of a placeholder, I've got one here from the 12th of June, which is after Frontline finished. Ian cooks up a hearty pumpkin soup and Richard takes boomerang lessons from a champion.
Wow.
Boomerang lessons.
Did,
nice.
did they repeat this like during the day on weekdays? Because I'm seeing all these memes from 90s kids saying, it's your stay-at-home 6 starter pack, and it's got like Healthy, Wealthy, and Wise and stuff on there. So,
oh, they probably did.
Yeah.
They probably did. And the same with the Ready, Steady, Cook, but that was in the noughties. Yeah.
Well, they might have run it on the weekends as well.
Yeah.
They certainly repeated Prisoner when I was on school holidays, I remember, although there's less recipe tips in that.
And there was also on the, I think, Saturday morning or Sunday morning, they did Bright Ideas, which had Warwick Moss and Melanie from Girlfriend.
Yes, that's right. Bright Ideas, yeah. Which was, well, I mean, it's like most weekend program nowadays. It's all just one big ad.
Yes, it was just... Hey, I'm Warwick Moss.
Right.
Let me show you how to paint your kitchen.
Exactly. It's like Unsolved Mysteries plus lifestyle.
I'll show you how to put up command hooks.
I mean, John Jarrett.
Yeah,
though,
it was basically sponsored by 3M. I do remember that too. There was a lot of 3M, yeah.
I reckon if you watch a bit of John Jarrett, though, from Better Homes and Gardens, and you've watched, you know, probably a creepy new spin you can put on that.
All right, so at 8:30, we've got Peak Practice, Season 2, Episode 6, titled Long Weekend. Jack tries to help his ex-fiancée who is suffering from schizophrenia. Everyone, including Beth, is puzzled by his long absence from the practice, and Kim contracts a rare disease from horses. Not you, Kim.
No, I was going to say.
Although, have you been near horses at all, Kim?
Sorry?
Have you been near horses at all, Kim?
No, not recently, no.
Oh, you missed the perfect joke.
No.
You could have just said, have you been near horses, Kim? No.
Yes. I'm saying that. I'm literally saying that now.
And at 9:35, we've got Medivac. Arch decides to cancel funding for an AIDS clinic and use the money for a breast cancer clinic instead. Wow, swings and roundabouts. So quite a lot of stuff to miss there if you don't like Frontline. But thankfully on this podcast, we do love Frontline, so let's get into it.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Daniel. All right. I'm going to do a very special thing. So I'm even going to date this episode even further. We are recording this episode the day before Mother's Day 2025. So I thought maybe if I reach out to someone in particular, my mum. So this is live at the time. Answer your phone, Mum. I told her I was going to call it this time.
Okay, she does know you're calling.
Hi, Mum. How are you?
Thanks.
Good. You're live on the podcast. It's a call out podcast. There we go. We have myself and then my co-hosts Alison, Daniel, Kim, and Stephen. So you got one other person in Sydney, one person in Adelaide, one in the UK, and one in the US. How do you feel about that, Mum?
Wow, huge.
Yeah, it's a marvel of technology.
Hello, Mrs. Matt.
Yeah. So, as part of Mother's Day, I was hoping that you could do the Frontline intro for me, please. If you can do your best Mike Moore impression, is that okay?
Sure.
Cool. All right. As we practiced earlier, we did some training. So
I hope this isn't in lieu of any sort of presents tomorrow.
Oh, no, they're going on a big trip, so... but I'll be attending the lunch tomorrow as well. So, have you got the script there, Mum?
Yes.
Okay, ready? I'm going to count you in. 4, 3, 2, cue in.
Hello, my name is Glynis, Matt's mum. This is Frontline, Season 3, Episode 7, The Simple Life. Broadcast Monday, April 7th, 1997.
What's up, Clip?
Just wait on the phone. How do you feel about that, Mum?
Excited.
I'm glad someone's excited on this podcast.
It's good.
And
Thank you.
And just to prove, like, this is fully legit, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay, cool. And I'll send you your. I'll give you your present tomorrow. So, no, last year's Mother's Day present was I took Mum to bring to meet my dog when I picked up Santa's Little Helper. So, yeah, that was a present from last year. So this year,
that was a lovely one. Yeah.
Yeah. So this year I tried to up the ante a bit. So hopefully this is good enough. Cool.
Well,
being part of the show is good.
Yeah, thank you.
You're probably going to give a pooper scooper as a gift tomorrow, I'm guessing.
Oh, the backyard's ready for him. Don't worry.
Well, for me or the dog? Thanks, Mum. And Dad can get his turn when it becomes Father's Day, okay?
Okay.
All right. Love
Thank
you.
you.
I'll see you tomorrow.
Bye. You too. Take care. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
There we go. So, unfortunately, she's not called Pie Face. So, yeah. There's another Martin Malloy reference.
Oh, listen, wait for the... can you hear me? This is Bob Franklin, Channel 9. Can you hear me?
Well, as my mum said, yeah, that is The Simple Life. And the synopsis of this episode is that Mike is seen bidding for a luxury house auction, buying a high-priced art as well, and even making into BRW's richest entertainers list, coming in behind the Wiggles. There's an early mention of the Wiggles. Meanwhile, Brooke is busy playing up community outrage over her story on a family of unemployed teenagers. Frontline's audience hate these kids and perceive them to be all lazy doll bludgers. So, we fix the perception, asks Emma. No, replies Prousey. We feed it. Wow, that's a big synopsis, and that was printed in the DVD.
Oh, wow.
The end. We don't need to summarize.
Yeah.
Doll Bludger's plot line is, straight from reality. But we'll get to that when we come to it.
A quiet day in the office as the staff sift through newspapers for stories. Rubbish stories, literally. While Marty's shopping for a boat, he realises the gap between his desk and Mike's office window is getting smaller every time he moves.
Am I going mad, or has this wall moved?
They had to shift it on the weekend to fit Mike's aquarium in.
His aquarium?
Yeah, it's to help him relax, from the pressures. Look, it's 10:30. Has anyone got a story? All right, I know exactly what to do in this situation. I'm just going to open up the paper and there'll be a story right here. All right? Open it, there'll be a story right... Has anyone seen the property section? We're not that desperate. Oh, you are kidding.
What?
Frontline frontman Mike Moore seen at the auction of 627 St George's Road, Toorak. The luxury apartment was eventually passed in despite Moore's final bid of $1.6 million. Is Mike moving? No, Dom, he's investing. Oh. You know what negative gearing is? No.
You know what a shitload of money is?
I'm surprised they didn't pull out the joy of financial advice.
Yeah, they should have handed that to Dom. There's two things here. There's the ASMR of all the newspapers. You know, that kind of the sound of the newspapers. Yeah. You don't really hear that now. That was a very satisfying noise. And the negative gearing and the 1.6 million, that's going to get you pretty much nothing in Sydney these days. So
yeah, I wonder what that 1.6 million two-rack apartment would be now. I mean, what, 10 million or what, you know?
Well, 1.6 million in 1997 is equivalent to 3.3 million in 2024 money, according to the ATO interest calculator.
Wow.
But the property's gone up higher than that, though, for particularly luxury property.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, whether it's 1.6 or 3.3 million, none of us here are going to be able to afford it.
Very true. Unless we all club in together and get a very tiny 1-bedroom.
Feel free to donate your $1 million to buy us a coffee.
Just to make us feel a bit less, depressed about the whole situation.
Yes, if only 3 million of you buy coffees, then it's going to work.
We've got an apartment, guys.
Did anyone notice that the way the billing was structured in the opening credits? For me, who's coming into this somewhat afresh, given I have not watched the show in at least 4 or 5 years. So Steve Bisley is actually credited before Rob Sitch.
Well, I suppose Bisley had done, a lot of other kind of high-profile telly at that point, so that makes sense.
Yeah, but still, it's interesting that I'm wondering whether that was his, writer or his agent being what agents do and say, top billing for my client.
Well, that's standard with negotiations, isn't it? You negotiate on where you're credited, what money you get, and the conditions of dressing rooms and whatnot, don't you? That's basically what they all negotiate on.
Maybe they had somebody going through the script trying to work out how many lines were said by each person, or running through an episode with the stopwatch.
It was very Prowsey heavy, wasn't it?
Yes, he's got a lot of serious acting in this one, I'll put it that way.
Yeah, that's probably why they've given him a bit more credit for that.
But it's the same for every episode, is it, in this series? That Bisley's credited first?
Don't know until we watch next episode. Because
I basically don't really look at the credits. I'm watching the show, to make notes for this, and I just haven't looked at it.
What do you apply?
Me either, which is really belying our pedantry roots, isn't
it? Yeah.
Right.
We've dropped the ball there, guys, and well done, Steve, for pointing that out.
Give me a moment. I can find out for you right now. Just give me 1 sec, and I can find out.
We're going to go through all 39 episodes.
I would think that he would be top bill for every episode. Surely they're not going to change it around just because he's got more dialogue in one than the other.
Not.
Okay, hold on. I'm on the next episode, and I can tell you. I'm just watching it at the moment. Come on. There we go. First billing right there in the next episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have a look on iView.
Whatever NAF streaming platform it's on. It's on Frontline, the new streaming platform just for Frontline.
That's called watch.workingdog.com. Thank you very much.
My case is made, Your Honour.
I've got mine on the original DVDs, but
hang on, I've got the iView up on here.
This is such riveting podcasting.
Yes. Steve,
we're editing here for you.
We're all going through.
Steve's still first on the first episode.
Yeah, please stand by, listeners, as we go through this in
is he? All right.
Intricate detail.
Yeah.
Cool. There you go. You just heard it there first. Maybe it's in alphabetical order too for that.
Because Bisley is a B and Sitch is an S, and there's many other people in between B and S. So
yeah, can do that. Wait. It's there you go, Steve.
Yep.
Yeah.
Then Rob. Yeah.
This is great podcasting, by the way. Watching videos
it's like
together.
Tyrion Moore has joined the podcast.
By the way, that is an invitation for you to come on the podcast too, Tyrion.
Yeah, and you as well, Steve Bisley. We can talk about both this show and also Eggshells, the show you were in with Gary McDonald. So please come in for either topic.
Not Eggshells. Oh.
Again, tangents. Yay, you brought it back.
Are we still on there, by the way?
Anyway.
We're still on there. Yeah. Matt, a lot of this is going to hit the cutting room floor.
I know, this is my fault. My fault yet again. It's okay.
But it's a really good spot, and you're right, we haven't discussed this matter.
Yes.
No.
It hasn't changed.
And we're
from the
7
DVD
episodes in, and that's just ball dropping of quite epic proportions.
Yeah.
All right. We'll keep going then. Prowsey's spitting chips with Trish over the bidding story, though Mike claims he could have bought the place. But because it's not a good look, it's time to pull back the publicity.
I think we should pull back on the publicity.
Yeah, good move.
What's he got coming up?
Let's see. Vogue Living, feature on the new pool.
Dick it.
Gourmet Traveller, my love affair with Grange Hermitage.
Dick it. Really?
Saturday Extra, my favourite holiday spot.
What have I written?
I think we'll dick it.
I can't dick everything. Oh, lots of people stay at Lizard Island. Dick it.
Lizard Island's a very prestige place too.
I like the implication that he just assumes that everyone's drinking Grange Hermitage. Oh, but that's normal, surely. In your world, Mike Moore. You know, spending his time bidding on Sydney Nolans at Sotheby's and Christie's and, you know, all this stuff.
I quite like the language there, dick it, especially in a pre-boning world.
That's very
Because
clever.
it was allegedly Eddie Maguire when he was CEO of Channel 9. Wanting to get rid of
Jessica Rowe.
Who was it? Yes, it was Jessica Rowe. And using bone as a verb.
Now, Marty's trying to buy a boat through the trading post. Tell him he's dreaming. While drilling in Mike's office is going on because he's getting an aquarium built, you know, to calm him, to help him relax. That's Mike, that is. Not
Very
Marty.
mad at the people stuff.
Yeah. Now, Prowsey searches for a story with Emma and Brooke.
What's on the front page?
Graph.
About?
Youth unemployment hits record high.
Well, there you go.
I warn you, there's statistics involved.
Forget the figures. We make it a human story. We find some kids long-term unemployed and spend some time with them. What do you reckon, Brooke?
Well, it's that or a woman who crochets lampshades.
Oh, yeah, I like it a lot. A day in the life of the long-term unemployed.
Looks like I'm off to the CES.
Can I have the lampshade story?
Hot off the presses on the Australian Nostalgia subreddit, the question was asked 1 hour ago, so relatively new. What do you think is the best Australian TV sitcom from the 90s? And the first top comment is Frontline.
Yay!
There you go.
Yeah.
And you can
Thank you,
reply,
Walter
there's a great
Brennan.
podcast about Frontline at the moment.
Yes.
Oh, the amount of times I've plugged it on Australian Nostalgia
Has anyone
as
said
well.
Bob Morrison or All Together
Oh.
Now? Or
I made a design of Bob Morrison
Bingles?
show. Yeah. Bingles. Or the
Yep.
comedy sale. Or,
Colin Carpenter? Still time for someone to post about Colin Carpenter.
Oh, Colin.
Yeah.
COL apostrophe.
Someone actually did post Bingles and it wasn't me.
Yeah, thanks for that breaking news.
Yeah.
Hot off the presses, guys. You're welcome.
Well, when you sent the screenshot, Davros Bean posted, "I'm Mike Moore. Welcome to Frontline." Oh, well, there's your chance to be on the podcast, Davros. If you do listen to the podcast, reach out. We'll have you on. I'm not going to go chasing for you. Mike's doing some shopping over the phone, buying up Drysdale paintings when Dom walks in.
Hey, Mike, you know
Yeah.
Assunta?
Of course I know. Some.
Assunta's Creche, they're having a raffle. Do you want to buy a ticket?
Yep, sure. Absolutely. How much are they?
$1.
$1. All I've got is a 5.
Oh, that's okay.
Have you got change?
Change.
Yeah. Oh, what the hell? Give me 2. And the change.
And I did miss out the point that Dom does like Clydesdale paintings.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's that's a quite good joke.
Another horse reference. Well,
Yeah.
Brooke shows the interview with the dog bludgeoning teens, the Baxters, but we don't know the name until later on, who resemble another bunch of teens.
Yeah, very much they resemble them.
Yes. Allegedly.
There's no allegedly here. There's a carbon copy,
You don't have
guys.
to worry about
Yeah.
it.
It's like a
allegedly.
shot-for-shot retake if you watch the original footage.
Yeah, of the Paxtons. And to Emma and Prowsey, so they're watching it when Mike walks in with his lunch.
So sad. Emma, they're losers. Oh, but can you imagine day after day with nothing to do?
Lazy old day today.
Don't
Hi,
even
Mike.
get an interview. People just don't even look at you.
Who are the kids?
Oh, it's a story on youth unemployment.
Despite the government's promises, it's still running at 28%.
God, that makes me angry.
Yeah.
You order sushi and they give you whitefish. Absolutely no tuna. That's a $20 dish. God, that pisses me off.
$41.50 today.
Yeah, thank you. Nice,
Wow.
nice calculation. Love it. Brooke's story goes to air while Mike sifts through the painting catalogue.
And in that time, have you ever tried to look for a job? Have you ever held a job?
Nah.
Does that bother you?
In 5.
Mate, after a while you just give up.
Brooke Vandenberg there with the human face of a very real problem. Back after the break. We out?
Yep.
What do you think of Dickerson's Sydney painter? Very gaunt, isn't it?
Gaunt. With that whole thing with the Baxters, as we mentioned about the Paxton family, this is how ACA did their throw in the story.
Do you think politicians and governments in general understand what you're really going through?
Nah, they wouldn't have a clue. Not at all.
Why?
If they had to come and live here, they wouldn't handle it.
They'd hang themselves.
Yeah, they would.
Mike Munner with that report. Pretty stark stuff, isn't it? Next, by contrast, we join the millionaire passengers on the QE2, where they can lay on every luxury.
Wow.
Yeah. That's thanks to Media Watch. Yeah. So,
I mean, really, I think thankfully the whole Media Watch episode that talks about this whole saga between A Current Affair and the Paxtons, all of it's on YouTube, and it is really worth a watch because
it's fascinating.
Yeah,
and Stuart Littlemore really kind of tears ACA a new one basically for 15 solid minutes, and boy do they deserve it. It's just shocking.
Well, see, I think I've said much earlier in our Frontline episodes that sometimes the media can be like a big spotlight, and basically the Paxtons really got hit with that spotlight when that I don't think they were prepared for it.
No. Well, they were like 17 or something. You can't expect kids like that to be able to cop all that they had to cop. And they were under so much scrutiny, and there was so much spin about their situation that you can't expect 17-year-olds to just handle that.
Well, the next morning, Marty's beefing with Stu and Jace over the price of a tinny, as well as Mike's aquarium extension. Emma tells Prousey that the audience reaction to the unemployed kid story, everyone hates him. So Prousey was expecting, praise, and it's like, feel sympathy type thing, but nah, they hate him. So Prousey orders Brooke to do another story until he discovers the bad news on his desk about Mike.
Shit! Number 4. On a rumoured salary package of $3.5 million a year.
You pricks. It's nothing more than an outrageous stab in the dark.
If it is, they got night vision equipment.
I just got a call from Mike. His Learjet stuck in a holding
Piss off.
pattern. Is it true?
Go away, I can't tell you that.
Thinking. It is true.
I didn't say that.
I know.
So again, today's money, that's $7.25 million.
Peanuts.
I earned that in 1 hour. No, I don't.
Also, did we all notice the hairstyle that Domenica had leading up to that? Which
like
was
Warhol style, wasn't it?
You know what? When we get to the final episode of Frontline, and I'll post it on socials, we'll have an appreciation for Dom's hairstyles.
Yeah.
So I'll make a collage.
I mean, there's some great ones in this episode. This particular blonde mullet, though, is really quite something.
Well, actually, I thought it might have been Graham and or the Colonel that she was paying homage to, or maybe even Bob Hawke. I don't know.
No, I thought it was more Andy Warhol because of the art references.
Yes.
Yeah.
There would be Andy Warhol then, because that's probably when, she started wearing it after the Clydesdale, Drysdale thing. So she's clicked on about it, and it's like, all right, I better get myself acquainted with art.
Okay, who can go back and find out what hairstyle Denise Drysdale was wearing in 1997?
I'm not sure it was quite that blonde, but it was something. There's also another bit that was in that part of the episode where Prousey calls Brooke beautiful, and you see there's quite a lot of sort of flirty, sexual kind of stuff going on between Prousey and Brooke in this episode, which is fairly gross. There's also a bit where he comes out of his office and adjusts his bollocks as he goes. So, the character notes for Prowsey are thick and fast in this episode.
Yes, I did notice the extremely tight acid wash jeans that he was wearing in this episode.
And the cowdy boots. Don't forget the cowdy boots.
Yeah, they're always up there on the desk, aren't they?
But yeah, next thing we've got here is Mike getting an absolute bollocking from Prowsey at his maddest.
Yes, he snaps at him for being hypocritical, a show that attacks the greed of the others, yet have a host who's on the BRW rich list. But you know what? It's time for a promo makeover.
We'll organise a promo.
Oh, good. Great. You're a down-to-earth guy, right? You're out and about. You're walking in the field.
I get hay fever.
You're walking in the field.
I'm walking in the field.
You're fishing from a pier. You're walking a dog.
I don't have a dog.
Well, rent one.
Okay, rent one.
Because the most important thing here, Mike, is that we make you look good.
Good. And this doesn't?
Referring to the rich list.
He's just seething. It's beautiful.
That's why he gets top billing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially when he loses his shit, but then he pulls it back.
Yeah.
Brooke films more of the doll bludgeoning teens, the Baxters.
Great. Okay, now, Sean, can we get a shot of you getting out of bed?
But it's midday.
Oh, yes, I know. We're doing a typical day in the life of a job seeker.
Yeah, but why would I want you...
We're not going to say it's midday. Midday, and Sean Baxter is just getting out of bed.
There's not really a lot of sort of empathy for these kids, is there? Like,
No.
if you I was unemployed for a period in the 90s, and looking back on that time, I just think I was just depressed, actually.
Yeah.
And there's like zero sympathy for these kids and how hard it was to get a job, particularly if you're young and therefore you've got no experience. There's always this thing with the unemployed, they're not trying hard enough. They're not putting in the time. And I just remember in those days, you sent letters to apply for jobs and you wouldn't even get a reply. What's that going to do to you? And that's probably what the Paxtons were doing. And yeah.
It's the same now, though. It's the same for those of us who work in the tech industry, and which is not a good place right now. You send, dozens, even hundreds of applications, and you might get one or two responses back. That's it.
Yeah, and now it's really streamlined, like using AI now to respond or to read stuff. Or
like those initial
submit it
initial
by LinkedIn.
vets are done by AI, and sometimes they just don't get the nuances of what the role is, and they just completely block people out before they even get past that first stage. So very tough days.
Very depressing.
And it doesn't help that everybody calls it the doll. Because, there's only one other word which comes after that D word. Bludgers. Which is really unfortunate.
Well, the ratings are in, and Prowsey is over the moon, and he wants Brooke to get the vox pops from the people in the street about the Baxters. All is well until Emma gives him a tape on Mike appearing on another show the night before.
Coming up after the break on Whole Lot of Livin', Philippe makes passion fruit mousse and Frontline host Mike Moore shows off his collection of Australian masters.
In fact, I've got more Sydney Nolans than the National Gallery.
I'm going to kill him. You want a hand? All I want is a host who comes across as a simple, down-to-earth friend of the battle.
Whole Lot of Livin'. Where did they get that title from, I wonder?
Ooh.
Smiling, feeling healthy too. Got a whole lot of living to do.
Welcome to Whole Lot of Livin', the lifestyle program with a difference. We're 10 seconds in and not one shot of a mountain bike. It's a little-known fact that typing on the screen over the shot of a waterfall helps link two unconnected segments together.
Nice. I didn't notice that until just now when I was playing back that grab and I went, Whole Lot of Living, and I went, oh yeah, that rings a bell now.
So yes, a very pitch perfect parody, I think, of the glut of lifestyle television in the early to mid 90s.
Pity they didn't have Tonya Todman. Could have been Tonya Todman interviewing Mike Moore and saying, if you want these paintings, let me show you how to make one that looks exactly the same using macaroni and clad glue.
And then fax in for a fact sheet.
Yes. Well, in the studio, Emma points out Mike's Rolex is reflecting on the camera. and this is all more visual, but Prowse is still angry at Mike, and Mike is talking to Prowse. He's like, flash the lights twice if you're still angry at me. And then he does. And then the other part was,
just repeated flashes. Yeah.
Yeah, and so what does that word
What
mean?
does that mean?
Yeah. But ratings are back in the next day. They are killing it. And Brooke has more ideas on what they could do with the Baxters.
The Herald Sun have got a double-page spread, a dub in a dole bludger hotline, even a comment from John Howard.
It makes me very proud when we can incite this level of hatred.
Hey, I say we've done enough.
That's why you'll never be an EP.
That and the fact I've got a degree.
Hey, first-class honours at the
University of Hard Knocks, yes.
Why don't we offer the kids jobs?
Oh, that's nice.
What?
Jobs we know they'll refuse.
What? And film them saying no?
I don't follow.
Okay, what won't they do?
Join the army.
No, it's got to look appealing.
Hi, Ralph.
Hi,
You're
Mike.
not still angry at me, are you?
No.
Is there a meeting?
No, we're just chatting about the Baxter kids, seeing if we can find them jobs.
Oh, that's a good idea. That ought to outflank the critics, hey? What sort of jobs?
I don't know, something appealing.
Oh, Palmbrook Island are looking for staff. Yeah, I was speaking to Benny, who owns the place. He's helping me look for islands.
Are you buying an island?
No, Kate. You lease them, 99 years.
Would these kids work on a resort?
Oh, long hair might be a problem.
Em, get onto this place.
You better tell them they've got to cut their hair. They want that, and the uniforms. I know they're a bit stodgy, but everyone wears them. And none of that pierced nose ear stuff.
Okay.
Straight up Paxton's.
Yeah. Because, basically this was the next bite of the cherry that they did. It wasn't, what was the name of the island? It wasn't Palmbrook Island in real life. It was South Mole Island. But, yeah, basically the same sort of thing. Yeah, didn't want to cut their hair, didn't want to wear the uniforms, which, yeah, I'm kind of 50-50 about that aspect of it.
I think it's interesting, like, if you look at the footage of the real Paxtons, they say, well, I don't want to cut my hair. And you think, well, actually, fair enough. Why should you have to do that? And I think
as long as it's presentable, it can be long.
Yeah, exactly. You can just put it in a ponytail or something. But like these days, there's so many people that you see on the streets who've got like all sorts of piercings, tattoos, all sorts of hairstyles, and no one cares anymore. But back in the 90s and earlier than that, standards of grooming people were very conservative about that. And there was this idea that you couldn't have certain jobs if you had done, if you had mad hairstyles or whatever. Yeah. So I think that's a way that we've progressed and improved our lives and made it easier for people to have choices about how they look and live their lives.
Yeah, good point
agreed.
there.
Yeah.
But if you have a listen to this part again.
The Herald Sun have got a double-page spread, a dub in a dole bludger hotline, even a comment from John Howard.
Right there, the John Howard part.
Yeah.
Yeah, this right here.
Are you aware of the Paxton family of Melbourne?
Oh, I am, yes. I've followed that very closely.
Is a haircut or the wrong uniform colour, is that a legitimate reason for not taking a job?
Oh, look, I think their attitude to most Australians was completely unacceptable.
And he'd only just become PM as well.
Yeah.
You've been warned.
There was a bit earlier in this episode of Frontline where they talked about Jeff Kennett had made a comment, and I think in real life Jeff Kennett did comment as well. That's also in Media Watch, isn't it? There's footage of that. But that's like classic John Howard, isn't it? I think most Australians would agree. He always used to say that. And it's like, well, no, just the people who voted for you agree with that super conservative point of view. He was such a bullshit artist.
I'm so tempted to say more John Howard stuff, Stephen.
It's a fair and equitable system.
Yes. Shorts. And Mariana.
That's right. Simpsons or Flintstones. Short bus.
Surely that's for a
And so
different
forth.
podcast. I can't remember the name of it again. If you could just remind us.
Yeah, Alison, it's called People Want Ducks, coming later on this year.
That sounds like an interesting podcast. I would subscribe to that.
Yes, please do. Go to www.peoplewantducks.com to subscribe to our newsletter.
I will do that, Stephen. Thank you.
Thank you, Alison.
I'm still amazed that domain name was available.
Yes. All right. But there's also, you're talking about that hair part too. This is what happened for that Paxton stuff, but the expose where it was, just have a listen.
The haircuts, according to Shane Paxton, were part of the setup.
Kevin Collins, the manager of South Mole Island Resort, and A Current Affair, had Mark and myself booked into the island barber for a week prior.
Maybe the Paxton boys were wrong about their haircuts, maybe. But they're just kids, 16 and 18 years old, and I thought there was a good deal of simple dignity and self-respect implicit in what they were saying.
Do you realise that you are throwing away a fantastic opportunity?
I'm not throwing it. I would take the opportunity.
Not throwing it away?
But I'm just not cutting my hair for it. It does not affect how I work. It does not change who I am for a job.
Exactly.
Mike's $2,500 angelfish is missing, which he accuses Marty of stealing or kidnapping, only to discover it's in the water cooler tank. And,
I have so many questions about how they got it into the water cooler, but because if you ever take off a water cooler, the hole is very tiny. How would you get the fish through the tiny hole?
But not just that.
Let alone humanely.
Well, it'd die. It'd be crushed.
Well, not just that. And don't forget, you've also got the pH levels in the water.
Yeah.
You have to get that chemically balanced, or otherwise it's basically throwing a fish into acid.
Which then makes the water undrinkable for the
Wow,
pedantry. Give me a pedantry.
Yes, go on, do it.
Okay, hold on.
With pedantry. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Wow.
What a precise conversation, aka pedantry.
Friday night, funny man Elliot Rhodes is getting in on the doll bludging business with a jingle, while Mike is still missing his other angelfish.
Who needs a life of drudgery? I prefer a life of doll bludgery, lazing about, taking handouts.
I swear I am going to report Marty to the RSPCA.
Find the other one, Mike?
No, not yet, and that's the really expensive one.
And his water jug.
5.
Kill Marty! I'm going to kill him! I'm cool. That fish needs an ambulance.
Oi!
I think Elliot is speaking for us all there.
That fish needs an ambulance.
I like to think there's a fish ambulance service, but there probably isn't. I also like that Elliot's dressed up as one of the Baxter kids with the long hair and the singlet, and doesn't he look great?
Nice piercing.
Yeah.
The next day, though, Mike is on the radio with Sarah Henderson.
Regardless of who's done the story, don't you think presenting it is just a little hypocritical?
In what sense?
Well, Mike, you own several houses, collect high-priced art,
And if the BRW is correct, you earned $3.5 million for half an hour's work a day.
In that sense, right. Well, okay, we've got a promo coming out about... Oh, not that a promo Look, but it'll present me, I believe...
When's the promo ready?
Not till next week.
We need something now.
I know. He sounds like a greedy rich asshole.
That's because he is a greedy rich arsehole.
No, so what do we do?
We need to fool people into believing that he's a generous man of the people. You're a publicist.
It's not that easy, Prowsey. There's an art to it. I have an idea.
What is that idea?
Do we notice in this sequence that Dom has another exciting hairstyle? This time she looks like Brian May from Queen.
Oh, yeah, she does.
With
too.
big long curly hair.
Well, Mike, acting like a complete baby, ends up hearing Trish and Prowsey's plan.
We tell people you're donating your Drysdale to the National Gallery.
Trish, it's worth $750,000.
It's not really donating, Dale. It's called a permanent loan.
So I can get it back?
Anytime.
Well, it's like free storage.
Oh, it gets better. It'll have a plaque saying it's there through your generosity.
What, like courtesy of Mike Moore?
Oh, that's nice.
Its profile increases and so does the value of the painting.
Oh, because it's in the National Gallery, so it's worth more.
And suddenly you're a philanthropist.
A what?
A philanthropist.
Stamp collector. Why would I want to collect
No,
stamps?
Dale. Philanthropist. A generous member of the community who is inspired to give of himself for the good of others.
But I just made money out of that deal.
And you've been applauded in the process.
Win-win. Gee, I think I'm going to enjoy being a philanthropist.
That joke was fantastic.
Yeah, it's a shame
Yeah.
he didn't get into philately and start buying up penny blacks or whatever. Still time, Mike, you know. Get into the
I love how at the beginning, before they tell him this plan, he's like, "But it's mine. I worked hard for it." And he's like hugging the catalogue. Just
the art catalogue. Yeah.
I swear, Mike would be one of those people who would actually own the piece of carpet that Pro Heart destroys. You know, in those
what a
Stainmaster
mess.
carpets one.
That's been cleaned
Mr.
up. Don't you understand?
Oh yeah, but
Mr. Bundy, aye. Sorry, another Martin Malloy reference there.
yes, I got it. Oh, but Marty's still shopping for a boat, and Mike offers a luxury boat magazine to do some searching for it. Not really, was it comparing the pair, really? And Emma tells Prousey that the Baxters have all been offered jobs. However...
That was Brooke. The Baxter kids have all just been offered jobs.
And
Jet skiing, sailing and lazing on the beach. The Baxters were only too keen, but when it came to hard work, they gave a different answer.
Oh, no way. I'm not cutting my hair. I'm afraid we have grooming standards. Yeah, but no one said anything about cutting her hair.
Yeah, no one.
This is the uniform. Would you like to try it on?
Uniform?
Yeah.
Yuck. No, I like purple.
Though they claim to be desperate for work, these kids all refuse jobs in the tropical paradise that is Palmbrook Island.
there you go, the Logie Award-winning moment right there.
And again, imitating real life there, because I think Bindi also liked purple from memory.
Yeah, she did. But what you sort of don't quite get from either this or really a current affair is that the jobs were basically like being waiters, kitchen hands, staff. You know, like if you're washing dishes in a kitchen, why do you need to remove your piercings and cut your hair and wear a specific color?
Well, that's the thing behind it in the Media Watch clip. Where they exposed the fact that it was all set up beforehand.
Yeah.
And they had actually booked in a week beforehand an appointment to get a haircut. Like they were going to film them getting a haircut and everything. So, and they didn't play ball. So it was all a complete setup.
Yep.
And they didn't need to worry about cutting the hair, but they just pushed it forward because on the cutting room floor, apparently, they... what am I saying? Just watch the clip. I'm describing the entire 15-minute Media Watch episode.
Honestly, go and watch the Media Watch episode. I'm sure we'll put links to it, but it's essential viewing just to see how close to reality the Baxters are to the Paxtons.
Also, the guy interviewing them, the real life guy, he looks exactly like the guy that they've got in Frontline, right down to the fact he's got a moustache and a tropical shirt on. So it really is a shot-for-shot retake.
And we haven't even gotten into, obviously this hasn't happened yet because we're in 1997, but then there's the whole John Safran doing unto a current affair what a current affair have done unto others, which it doesn't happen until 98.
Yeah, that's on YouTube as well, and that's worth a watch because it's quite funny. And wow, Ray Martin gets really quite violent.
It's also revealed too that Brooke didn't give the Baxters a heads up on a lot of things, hence the reason why they responded in a certain way. So in regards to haircuts, like they actually didn't need to get a haircut, etc.
We also find out that she's taking a few days off.
Yes, indeed.
Possibly at the island. They don't call her the Queen of Contra for nothing.
Yeah, and there's that really gross phone call where Prousey calls her beautiful and babe and darling and she just like giggles and goes along with it, and you think, oh, okay, right. Well, you.
Well,
I'm not entirely blaming her for that. He is being gross too.
A sleepy Mike catches up with Jeff to talk philanthropic things. Had to be careful with that.
Hey, Jeff, what do you think of when you hear the word philanthropist?
Oh. Self-aggrandizing rich people with too much money trying to launder their guilt.
Well, sure, there's a few bad apples. Oh, what do you think of when you hear the phrase patron of the arts?
Exactly the same thing. People like the Medicis, I hate that.
The chef lady?
No. In 15th century Florence, the Medicis, what they did is they crushed the poor but gave to the arts, and that way they were private thugs but public angels.
Oh, it was a long time ago.
Mike, things have not changed a bit. The mafia does exactly the same thing. They donate a small percentage of what they steal. It's very clever. It makes evil people look good.
Yeah, but I'm not Italian.
It's the same everywhere, Mike. It really makes my blood boil. Wealthy bastards hiding behind high-profile charity. Not you. You don't give to anyone.
No, well, I've been burnt.
I remember.
I donate to the Polo Association. It's not tax deductible.
Santo is very rich in history. He knows his history.
Yeah, he certainly does.
Like when you got that and compare it to the Pope stuff, so that or he just does his research. Marty breaks into Mike's fridge to grab some grolsches, delicious, with the team to celebrate buying a tinny, while Mike wins a boombox from Dom's raffle after buying just 2 tickets and everyone.
Yeah, and it turns out that half the office have each bought 30 tickets, and so they're all pretty pissed off, I think.
Yeah, well, Marty bought 50.
50? And the boat.
And the boat, yeah.
So the boom box, I did look that up, and you can find it on eBay for about $100. And there's a YouTube video of someone using it, and they basically say it works pretty well. It's just the CD is not that great anymore, but it's your bog standard CD system with your radio and your CD player, and I think there's a tape in there as well. So it's I don't know why you'd spend 50 raffle tickets even in 1997 for one of them, but there you go.
Oh, you're supporting the charity, man.
That's right, yeah. It was a tax deductible. So.
Yeah,
probably not.
And also, no. I was going to say it was also used to record episodes of Martin Malloy on cassette tape. So
vital piece of equipment.
It was probably, yes.
Pausing in between songs. Mike invites Marty to meet up at the marina to go for brunch and with his boat. And Trish arrives with Mike's new promo and showing all cliches mentioned earlier in the episode with a backing track to John Farnham's A Simple Life.
Well, that's if you watch the original version.
Oh, see, here's the thing. I thought, you know what? I'll let you do your thing and then I'll have to say my spool.
Well, if we could just get Hugh to...
Edit it there.
So we might start with the... he can't stop wheezing, can he? We might start with the remastered version first of all.
You're so handsome on film.
Oh, thank you. Really. Shush, everyone. I'm about to play it.
Oh. So it's this really moody kind of music, I think.
Do you think this is Mike's theme as opposed to Ashira's theme last week with the crappy library music?
I'm not sure. It also sounds slightly out of era for me.
Yeah, it's not 90s, is it?
Not really, but it is very sort of inspirational.
I ended up buying it.
And yeah, that last line that I talked over just then, you might hear just a little wisp of John Farnham coming out underneath in the remastered version.
For the stories that touch us all, turn to the man who's in touch with the world, your world. The choice is simple. Mike Moore.
So, yeah, basically that's the original version with the song A Simple Life by John Farnham from his 1996 album Romeo's Heart. And one of the things we miss is that we miss out on the 10-ton testicle voiceover. And this is a really different feel to the replacement music, I think.
Well, the replacement music sounds like it's advertising an airline, whereas this is perfect for the footage.
10-ton testicles.
I can't say this for sure, but I'm pretty sure that guy did vocal work on a Tissam album.
It wouldn't surprise me.
I think he was on De Rigor Mortis, maybe. I can go back and find out and back chat in next time.
We invite the Humphrey. Oh no, what's his name? Ron Hitler Barassi.
Humphrey B. Flaubert.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, to come on and we invite him to come on and to answer that. But I will say though that the fact that when they've redubbed the editor there, right, it ruins the setup for the following joke.
Yeah, that too.
Like it completely destroys it.
Yep.
So
the song is also what gives the episode its title.
Yeah.
Exactly.
The
yeah.
song is perfect.
So,
This song is perfect, and it's just really awful that they've had to cut it out.
You really would think that, because
they'd be able to cut a deal being
with Farnsey, it's just like it seemed like a good idea at the time.
Hey.
Sorry.
It's the age of copyright.
Yeah, but they've probably just gone, look, it's going to cost you this amount or whatever. Anyway, but at the marina, Marty, Stu, and Jace are having their boat time, which is simply just...
Mike Moore, patron of the arts.
Put it away, Marty.
Stepped in like philanthropists of old with a generous donation to
Marty!
the national... The guy does nothing. Nothing! Yet he's touted as this caring, generous man of the people. And as for that
Marty,
promo...
we're here to relax. It's a beautiful day. We've got great food, $7 beer.
Mike's angelfish's bait.
Exactly. And you've got your own boat.
Mate, not even Mike can spoil this. Yeah, all right.
Hey, guys! I thought it was you!
It is, Mike.
Hey, how good is this, eh? French champagne, lobster in the fridge, beautiful day. How would you describe it?
The simple life.
What?
So they can kind of get away with it because of that line.
It's such a nice little bow on all the proceedings, isn't it?
Yeah. Copyright's a bitch, isn't it?
Yeah.
We know it.
I've recently bought... Now, this is on a tangent, so I'm sorry that we're going to lose that listener. All right, but I did recently buy the Drew Carey Show box set, the complete series. They finally released it on DVD. The reason why they were delaying it for so long was that that show was just full of copyrighted music, and they've released episodes, the entire series, on Plex in the US, which you only can access via VPN in Australia. Anyway, I've had to import the box set, and so I'm getting it in the next couple of days. But as I've gone through what was on the Plex episodes, I've gone to the main points of, or the main parts of some episodes where it's very music heavy. They've actually, in the box set, they've not included 4 episodes because they were music specials.
Wow.
And then there's also parts where, like, for example, one was when Drew Carey, they're parodying or inspired by the Full Monty, where they're dancing to Free Ride. And they've completely removed it and put in a generic rock song and then put in a fake applause and laughter. It's really bad. It ruins the joke. Yeah. And also one where they're setting up where it's the whole montage of like going through decades of culture, and to the song What Is Hip, they've completely removed the song What Is Hip, and then they just shorten the montage further down because they're lip syncing to the song. So whenever there's no close up of the lip syncing, they've removed the lip syncing parts and then kept anyway. That's what happens when copyrighted music ruins shows to be released on physical media and streaming. Pricks.
Keep your original copies.
Yes.
Yeah. We've said it before. I mean, the alternative is they don't get released at all. But we would prefer if they weren't so expurgated.
Yes. Well, did anyone watch the mid-credit scene?
Mm-hmm.
Just making sure.
Yeah, it's from that TV show where Mike talked about his art collection and
whole lot of living.
Yes, and it seems that he's not that much of an expert really. He might own a lot, but he doesn't really know what he's got.
But he knows a guy who does know.
Yeah.
Brendan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, I need to know what they are or I'll look like an idiot.
You can't tell the difference between a Christmas card and a Sydney Nolan
Yeah.
painting.
Did you notice his logies on the table there as well? There are two logies.
He knows what they are, I think.
Now, also, I noticed two names in the credits, which are quite interesting: Bob Maver and Nan Maver.
That will be, I assume,
the Vox Pops.
I assume that as well, and I would also assume that they're the parents of First Assistant Director Annie Maver.
Yes.
All right, well, that concludes Frontline Season 3, Episode 7, and the Champagne Comedy Podcast, Episode 73.
One more little quick tidbit. Do you all know the connection between that episode of Frontline and the D-Generation Breakfast Show?
Ooh.
No.
Huh.
Okay. So what was the character that Santa Chilaro would do regularly on the show, on the radio show?
Wayne from
St. Albans. The Paxton family are from St. Albans.
Oh.
There you go. There you go.
Nice.
Now, we don't have anyone from Melbourne on the podcast, so we can't sort of get the insight on whether St. Albans had a bit of a reputation as a suburb or, what the deal was. Because I think we all know what Toorak means. Toorak means rich people, but I don't really know what St. Albans means. So maybe someone can tell us, who knows.
The Toorak address, like the one that, what's his name, Mike was buying the apartment, right? The address that they mentioned at the start, the address is correct, but the house number is wrong. There's no such thing.
That's probably deliberate.
I Googled that.
Just to stop people walking up and down that street in Toorak looking for Mike.
Waving their Frontline DVDs. Go, where is it? Where is this place?
Well, again, thanks for listening to this episode, and feel free to email champagnelateshow@gmail.com. Check this episode's show notes for all our socials, and Facebook search Champagne Comedy Podcast Group, answer the questions and you're in. You don't have to, just hit join and I'll accept you. And also buymeacoffee.com, TLS Champagne Pod.
Help us get the first brick of that McMansion.
Oh, yeah, please do. Perfect.
The Champagne Comedy McMansion, where we each live in a room in the mansion.
Yes.
Great. Can't wait for that.
So thank you, Alison, Daniel, Kim, and our US correspondent, Stephen. Stephen, do you have anything to plug?
Anything to plug? Oh, let me think.
Actually, we do. Actually,
we have two things to plug.
Yeah. Other than the upcoming People Want Ducks, we've got something special, which the others haven't heard yet. So it'll be a little Easter egg right after the end of this episode.
That's right. So stay tuned. Like the end of a CD where like the track fades out and there's about 5 minutes of silence. Then at the end of that, it's going to be this Easter egg. So do not change the track.
I won't do 5 minutes of silence. I'll do 10.
Excellent. You get real avant-garde with it. But yes, People Want Ducks coming soon, hopefully in a couple of months' time. So do stay tuned. I'm sure I will convince Matt to spam it on the socials on this podcast. But looking forward to bringing you all some frivolity from the 2000s. It'll be good to modernize this group of people.
And there will be familiar voices on that too.
Yeah.
Just want to say thank you as well to Mum for answering the call and doing that bit. So there we go. It's a family affair.
Good work, Mrs. Fulton.
Thanks very much, Mum, and happy Mother's Day, and to everyone else as well, and you, the listener. So you know what? Before we do, you might as well just explain a tiny little bit what the Easter egg is. Because it goes straight into it.
Okay.
But basically, Stephen was our correspondent for a few activities that happened in April, and Stephen's going to be reporting on it.
I came back to Australia recently. It wasn't for the best reasons, but I had some great fun towards the end, and I kept Matt in the loop the whole way, sent him a handful of photos as well. And he felt it was apropos to share with not only all of you on the podcast with me right now, but all the listeners, because it is definitely adjacent to topics and people that we have talked about in multitude on this particular program. So I put together a little package and Matt has lovingly edited my waffling down from a very long waffle to a more consumable fun size amount for you all to enjoy.
A waffle? What do you think this podcast is all
I'm sorry,
about? All right. Please enjoy a little bit at the end. Thanks for listening. I'm Matt. Catch you next time. Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Champagne Comedy Podcast, created by fans for the fans. For more information on this podcast, please visit champagnecomedy.com. Produced by Matt Fulton Productions, mattfulton.com.au.
As an Australian living in the United States, I feel it's important for me to stay in touch with my homeland. And how I do this is often through comedy, like this podcast, and Get This, and Tisseltown, and From the Hideout, and more. I recently had to make a trip home due to a family emergency, but amongst that chaos, I had the opportunity to attend some events pertaining to my fandom. On a rainy Friday evening, I drove from Sydney about 2 hours south to Kiama, where Dave Graney and Claire Moore were performing. Dave Graney has been a staple of Tony Martin's work, having appeared on Get This 10 times and wrote the score for Tony's 2003 film Bad Eggs. They were performing at a cafe which had a small stage for performances. I was sitting in the front row, and during an interval, Dave came down and spoke to me as I was wearing a Bad Seed t-shirt, referencing Nick Cave in the Bad Seeds. I struck up a conversation, asking about his memories of Get This. He said he had positive memories of the show, and I reminded him of a few references he made to obscure songs.
Whoa, whoa, will you rape Mother Earth and exploit all her people? You're long overdue for your hour of castration. I'm one among many who lives for they die.
I wasn't well versed with Dave and Claire's music, and I really enjoyed hearing the range that they performed through their entire catalogue.
Flipping gangster guys with their strides around their feet.
I had a really good time ultimately, and it felt homely and a nice break from the aforementioned chaos that I had. From the Hideout, the podcast series hosted by Tony Martin, Jovan Caro and Pete Smith were performing 2 live shows for the Melbourne International Comedy Festival. While tickets were long sold out, as a Patreon subscriber to their podcast, I approached the team to see whether there was any chance of me getting a last-minute ticket. Jovan was able to miraculously get me a ticket, so that Sunday I flew to Melbourne. I met Tony before as an audience member of The Joy of Sets, and as an extra on a segment on that show, where I appeared for about 0.4 of a second.
And you're watching The Joy of Sets, a TV show all about TV shows.
It was my first time seeing Jovan and Pete in person. It was a great show. The banter between the 3 guys was great, and they had the crowd roaring in laughter. After the show, Tony, Pete and Jovan met with fans. Tony was the first to come downstairs to the bar. I said hello to him, mentioned my love for Get This, and mentioned our upcoming podcast project. He left soon after. I waited for Jovan to come downstairs so I could introduce myself, and he could then put a face to the name. I thanked him again for getting me a ticket. We spoke for a few minutes before a line of people built to a point where I felt the need to let him go and talk to other fans. What was most surprising to me, though, was actually the crowd reaction to Pete. Crowds absolutely swarmed around him, with several people handing Pete Channel 9 headshots from what I'm guessing was about 35 years ago to sign. It was near impossible to get near him. Fortunately, Jovan and I made eye contact, and he asked whether I wanted to meet Pete. I said yes, of course. He went over and whispered in his ear and brought him over to meet me. And this is where you see Pete's MC and entertainer personality shine. He was an absolute consummate gentleman, warm and welcoming, thanking me for coming. Jovan mentioned to Pete that I'd come over from the US for the show. Pete then absolutely lit up at this revelation. He grabbed my hand and he thanked me deeply for attending. I explained that while I wasn't here just for this event, I was truly delighted that I was able to make it nonetheless. I had to let him go back to the crowd ultimately, but I left the event feeling so buoyed by the energy of meeting 3 stalwarts of Australian comedy, and of course Pete Smith, a icon of Australian TV. Which left one last event for my trip, the Front Bar. Again, I was fortunate to have a generous benefactor on my side who was able to score me a last-minute ticket. It was the first time in over 10 years that I've been part of a live audience. The last time being on the ABC show Randling, hosted by Andrew Denton. Through lucky coincidence, I was given a seat in the front row. When Mick came out to say hi to the audience before taping, he gave me a fist bump. That was pretty cool. It was also a fortuitous day to be able to make the show, as subbing in for Sam Pang was Santo Chilaro. What was interesting as an audience novice was how much the 3 hosts feed off audience energy. The more we laughed, the more comfortable they were. And the laughs were not hard to come by. The show was just as funny in person as it is watching it from the couch. I left the country a week later. Despite having to work through some tough family issues before these events, it was these events that made me remember just how much I appreciate Australian humour. Many of these entertainers have been an important part of my life for over 30 years, and have shaped my own sense of humour greatly. And with all the chaos happening in the world today, these experiences made me feel more anchored as an Australian than ever. This is Stephen Plunkett, reporting from Kiama, Melbourne, and not
Canberra.